Beatlemania was at its peak, young girls would faint at the sight of the Beatles, and even when the band broke up, their powerful legend continued. Now, a tribute band called the Liverpool Legends will be in Oklahoma in late January. They recreate the music and the four members, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. The four musicians and actors were handpicked by George Harrison's sister, Louise, who is with me here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, it's a lot of fun.
I know it. It's a privilege. Now, you grew up in Liverpool, and as the eldest child with George and two other brothers, when did you notice that George had musical talent?
I didn't.
Really?
Well, I had already gotten married and moved away from home. I'd been in Canada, South America, and had moved to the United States by the time I ever saw him play a guitar. He first got interested in music. I think my mum told me that there was, I think, a TV show with Elvis Presley in Britain at one time. And George saw this, he was about 14, and he saw all the girls screaming. And he said to Mum, "Hey Mum, do you think maybe you could buy us a guitar for me? Because I think I could do that kind of job."
I love it. That's
so
awesome.
That's kind of how it started.
Wow, that is wonderful. Now, did you travel with the Beatles?
Cool. Well, I didn't travel with them very much. I traveled with them a little bit. But what happened was, George came to visit me in Illinois. I'd moved to Illinois in '63. He came to visit me in September with our other brother, Peter. And during that time, I had been trying to get their records played on radio stations all through the Midwest,
right,
prior to him coming. I'd been working with Brian and George Martin and Dick James, been writing back and forth to them, giving them all the information that I could glean from Billboard and Cashbox, right, and Variety. They didn't have Rolling Stone back then. I found out as much as I could, gave him all this information. I called him every week and wrote letters to him all the time. And at that time, of course, Ed Sullivan's show was the big thing every Sunday night. So I kept at the bottom of the page, I would say, get them on the Ed Sullivan show. Ah. I did get a couple of small radio stations in the Midwest to play, and but you know, that wasn't enough.
But you were there at their first performance at the Ed Sullivan show.
Oh yes,
is that right?
Yeah, I was with them.
What did you think of your brother's fame and of the band's fame?
Well, it all kind of snuck up on me.
I bet.
Because, you know, when they first started playing music, I was writing back and forth to Mum and Dad and to George. And when he was in Hamburg, he wrote a lot of letters to me and was telling me, you know, about how they were living in this room which had no windows, and it was underneath the stage.
Wow.
And they called it the Black Hole of Calcutta. Oh, no. And they were working, you know, 12 hours a night, every night. And it was in Hamburg, so it was a seaport. And they said most of the audiences, there were a bunch of drunken sailors.
Yeah.
You know, there was like tables and chairs flying through the air.
Oh, no. Wow, so they definitely paid their dues.
Oh, did they ever? Yeah. They were not an overnight success on February the 9th, 1964.
Wow. Yeah, I think from what I read, it took about 6 years before they really hit it big.
Yeah, and you know, they went through such an apprenticeship, if you could call it that by the time they were done with that apprenticeship, they were master craftsmen.
Wow. That's so neat.
And you do. I mean, with our band too, Liverpool Legends, we've now been together for 5 years.
Yes.
And although they were all seasoned musicians and actors when I met them, just being together and working together as a band and working with the technicians, and you know, let's face it, in a big theater you have to have lighting people and the sound people and you know, a whole crew of people.
What made you decide to manage the Liverpool Legends?
Well, I didn't have anything else to do, actually.
I love it. So you said, I'm not going to retire, I'm going to keep going.
Well, you know, you got to pay your bills. Yes. And that was the most fun way I could think of. Right. Besides, I'd made friends with my new brother, who plays George in Liverpool Legends.
Marty Scott?
Yeah, I met him just a few weeks after my brother died. And it was really amazing because I was invited to a Beatle weekend, and I was sitting at the back of the hall where the people were videotaping the show. And when he came on the stage to do While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that was the first time since my brother had died that the tears just streamed down my face. I thought, you know, I'll never ever see my real brother doing that again. But we, you know, we adopted each other, basically.
I love it. I love it. That's what I was going to ask you. You know, Marty Scott plays your late brother George.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is it like to watch him as he impersonates the Quiet Beatle?
Well, the Quiet Beatle was a big myth anyway. He never was the Quiet Beatle, and I'll tell you that.
Love it.
But I don't know, it just seems so natural because he has so much of George's personality.
Wow.
And that was why we adopted each other right away, because it was almost as though we recognized each other.
How neat. You and your brother have, even though you weren't maybe close in age, but you were always close.
Oh yeah. Well, all the pictures of us when we were kids, I've usually got my arm around him, you know, or whatever, you know.
I love it. That's wonderful. Well, the Liverpool Legends will be performing at the Rose State College Performing Arts Theater on January 27th. Find out ticketing information at myticketoffice.com. Thank you so much.
Can I say one more thing? If they're going to go, get the tickets early, because I wouldn't want you to get to the door and then...
Right. And like you said, you know, they're musicians and they're actors, so they not only, they change clothes throughout the
they have 5 different outfits.
Yeah, so they look like them as well. What an entertaining evening.
And it's fun.
Yes.
A lot of fun.
Definitely.
Oh, and they get people to get up and dance, too.
Oh, fun. There you go. That's worth it right there. Check out myticketoffice.com. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.